Yo, what is up? So, The Witcher 4 Unreal Engine 5 tech demo came out today, and I saw a lot of discourse online about whether or not it was actually running on a PlayStation 5. So, I thought I'd take a look at it and give you my thoughts because, as everyone knows, I'm just the smartest, greatest, biggest brained tech analyst out there, right?
Yeah.
So, to start off with this introductory scene where they're in the carriage. It's an enclosed space. Not much is going on. It's hard to tell if there's any kind of upscaling here, because it's kind of where upscalers shine. Not a ton of like foliage and branches and things going on. Right here, it just looks good. I do kind of doubt that it's running on a PS5. I think this was pre-rendered, or just rendered beforehand, but I don't know. And then if we fast forward a bit to the introduction scene, they say right here,
PlayStation 5 at 60 FPS with ray tracing.
They claim it has 60 FPS ray tracing on a PlayStation 5. It must be software Lumen, because the PlayStation 5 I don't think could handle hardware ray tracing, so it'd have to be software-based ray tracing. And Lumen is light enough that I think they could get away with it. Then later in the video, if we fast forward a little bit, we have this section where it shows musculature of the horse as it runs. I don't know how they do that real time on a PlayStation. That leads me to believe that this, at least like pre-rendered or done on a PC, that is comparable to the PlayStation 5 specs instead of an actual PlayStation 5. So if we fast forward again just slightly, get to this part where they talk about
Nanite foliage.
nanite foliage. This also looks like SDK stuff that wouldn't be plausible on a PlayStation 5, but I don't know. I don't have access to PlayStation 5 or Unreal Engine SDKs, so it's possible. I don't know. Right here they're showing off nanite foliage, which it looks like if something's off in the distance and takes fewer pixels, it changes to this voxelized rendering of the geometry like this. So it's actually rendering less geometry the further away it is, and it can go per pixel. So the higher resolution you have, the higher geometry detail you have, the lower resolution, the more resources saved. Could be good. On PlayStation 5, that could be a game changer. My personal experience, any game that's had nanite has had worse performance than other comparable games, but I think that's on account of nanite often being accompanied by Lumen, and ray tracing features are hardware intensive. They're harder to run. So maybe nanite is actually more efficient to run. I don't know. Now, if we fast forward to this bridge section right here, under these buildings here, there are these shadows. When Siri goes past and the camera goes past, so I think right there it's screen space ambient occlusion, not ray traced, which just reinforces my theory that it's not using ray traced shadows. You can really see it right there. Yeah, it looks like screen space ambient occlusion. It just takes a second to register. So oftentimes with temporal upscalers, when there is a blurred background from depth of field and a non-blurred foreground, it can upscale both of those fine, but where they intersect, like right here on her nose, they generally have trouble with that. So if I just rewind a little, that might have been too far. Right here, you can see it flickers along her nose pretty badly right there. So again, probably a temporal upscaler, probably Unreal Engines. Yeah, so you can see it's visibly there, but then everything else rendered somewhat accurately and looked good. Then when we get to this part where they're talking about crowd densities, I can't help but think about 2 generations ago when Unity came out, Assassin's Creed Unity. They had huge crowds for the time. To me, this kind of stuff, it seems very plausible. up to 300 characters on a PlayStation 5. Yeah, I think that's possible. Right here, when they start going through the forest with the camera, they start flying through it. There's one specific detail I noticed, and that was too far. This tree right here. The edges kind of shimmer. Just watch the edges of the tree right here. They kind of shimmer in and out of existence. Again, supporting my theory of a temporal upscaler. It's not surprising, most games use a temporal upscaler these days. And when we go to the end of the video, when she's about to ride off, when she rides off, there's kind of a ghosting trail behind her where the temporal upscaler doesn't quite know what to do. Yeah, it kind of like ghosted behind her and followed her. Yeah. Again, TAA. It's fine. So to summarize, I do think it's entirely possible that this is running on a PlayStation 5, but I do think it's more likely that it's running on PC hardware that is similar to a PlayStation 5's performance. Either way, this looks great for a tech demo. I do wonder how much of this tech is actually going to make it into the game. We'll have to wait and see. We'll also have to wait and see if the PlayStation 5 version of this game does actually look this good, or if it looks significantly worse, like it's running 720p hardware or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, those are just my impressions of the tech demo. I'm sure Digital Foundry will do an entire video or series of videos on it. They're much better informed than I am. But I hope you enjoyed this video if you watched it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, and wild nature is hard.